Alright, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Catalyst, your favorite. So on the same project design we started, I'm going to be revealing how I was able to come out with this excellent design. This is a code to support the program. However, if you check our previous design review, we are going to see that there's some elements that were consistently communicates in order, such as our typographics, our layouts, patterns, colors, the arrangements of the characters. Alright, so I'll be showing you step by step of how I was able to make this simple design. Okay, so without wasting too much of our time, let's jump into it. Right, the first thing is to hide all layers first. Let's hide all the layers. Right, so here is my background. This is the original background of this design. So if you check my last design review that we did, I was trying to explain where I got this original image from Image FX. Alright, and then I had to add a little touch of vibrance to it and saturation, and if you can see it, this was the original image and this is the third party effect. Then I had to add a blur to it. Alright, blur. I added blur to it at 90. So I think here is the main background. Then the next thing I have to do is just to pick a random color, then sample it from my background and then have it to be blended. Can you see now? Have it to be blended as color touch. Alright, so the next thing I did, most of you already know this background. So like I said earlier, I said it's a long-term project. Alright, and one of the things you could see and notice is that even though our BG has to communicate same feelings but in different form. Alright, so and the next thing I have to do is to add this particular image. All of you know this one too. I got it from Pinterest. Alright, if you check my previous videos, then I had to just blend it to add light so it can just build in the same form of the environment. And the next thing I have to do is to just add my cloud effects to it, and then add, most of you already know where I got my Lagos bridge from. I think it ChatGPT. Then if you see this blur now, it wasn't on. I have off the third party layer. The only thing I'm using now here is just the blending option alone. Can you see? Just the blending option alone. So it itself can still feel the same environment. It still can still be in the form of the same environment. Alright, and if you check, one of the things that you are going to notice is that when you check this place, you are going to see that there is a white layout there. The white layout that I unhide the other time was just a cloud kind of effect. Cloud kind of effect. So, and I think the next thing I have to add is the hand. Yeah, I generated this onto using Image FX. Alright, Image FX, because I already believe that most of the designers out there know how to prompt their image using Image FX. So, and I think the next thing I have to do is just to blend it to different as you can see. Now, I did not find out something that actually works out for me until I got to difference. All right, and I had to add a little bit of dark colors, right? So after that, the next thing I added was another, okay, this is a shape, yeah, and this is how I came about it. I came about that. Then the next thing I did is just to add the account of the bank, the name of the bank, and then I brushed down my lower part just to cover up the down part. Okay, just to cover up the down part. Then the next thing I had to add, now if you check this Lagos theater image, I got it from ChatGPT. Alright, then how to find a way to blend it to form into the same environment. Now if you check, without telling much story, this thing already telling you that okay, this is a particular program that is happening in Lagos. Because why? Most of the elements are, drifting shift to Lagos. Most of the elements that are used to communicate through these visuals are Lagos image, like the bridge, like the Lagos theater image. So most of all these things are tending towards same direction. And next thing I have to add is just a brush, a black brush. And how do I do that? I add a new layer, then I add on over to my brush, and I just just drop down my brush. And then the next thing I had to add was my character. All right, my character. Then how to still overlay it with blend. Then if you check, I add a color fill. This is how I did that. I held on over to this adjustment layer, then I added a solid color. All right, I now picked a color from the background. Okay, and one of the reasons why I intentionally did this one is so that it can still feel in the same environment. Because why? We are communicating the same pattern but in different concepts. Okay, so that is why. And the next thing I have to do is to put down what was it called, the color theme, the team logos, the name of the events. Then the next thing I have to do is to put out my time and the date. Then next thing I have to do is to put the handle, put the support. Now there's a particular thing I did on the support. Now as you can see, because most of us, you've been wanting to know that okay, this how do people do this thing. Now if you check this thing, there are mainly things that you discover. Why? Because it's form a kind of layer that blend but still shows up. All right, so now the first thing I have to do is to type my write-up. All right, I type my write-up. After typing it, I convert it to smart objects, because this is it here. This is how to convert to smart objects. I converted it into smart objects. After I converted smart objects, the next thing I added is a blur. Yeah, and if you check, my angle blur is 90 and the distance is 175. Now after I did that, I have to perspective it. All right, it was perspectived. And how do I do that? perspective, just a little while. So for many of us that doesn't know, okay, oh, let me perspective, this is how to perspective your layers, your font style, or your image wherever you are. I just held on over to this edge and I just drag a little out. So let's try to do it now. You will okay. If you are going to see what I'm trying to say, this is it without blending. Alright. So this was the original thing without the blending. So when I tried to perspective it, can you see now? Perspective, and then I just have to like, so I just draw it out just a little bit, and if you check my angles, I think if you check my angles, so if you check up here, okay, there's something that was actually written up here. If you check, that is 59.42%. all right, so that is the angle. Then I now duplicated it. After I duplicated it, now the next thing I have to do is to add the blur on it. After I added the blur, which was actually up, it's showing up, then the next thing I have to do is just to now blend it. And then how do I come about that? I hold on over to my blending mode, then color dodge. All right, did you see what we have now? You see what we have? Did you see what we have? So this is what we have originally, and this is what we have now. All right, so the next thing I had was the bank name code. Right, here is the cheat. I did something there, because now this is what the thing was for originally. So can you see I did something here? So I want to just find a time to just explain it particularly. So I'm looking for exact thing that I did. Exact thing. So now this is the image. The image that you are seeing here. This is the image. All what I did is just to blend it inside. I blended it inside a clip mask. Alright, now I want to unmask it. Now this is what we have. Many of the things I did, this is just the access band image normally. Alright, and then how do I turn it to form into this thing? Alright, so I held on over to my rectangle, alright, which was in the down part. Then I now have to auto clip it with my auto. Alright, auto, if you are going to auto clip that, if you hold on over to your auto, then I now find a way to now color dodge it. Now many things I did is just blending the background, blending, motion blur. Then most of my elements that I'm actually explaining, most of them are blending, motion, color dodge, adjustments, color layer panels. We've come to the end of this design review. So if you have any question, you can drop it at the comment section. So see you in the next design review.